including Brad Marchand, going back to Florida last night, Ty.
Oh, my God.
On a 6-year deal that will pay him about $5.5 million a year. 6 and 32 are the rough numbers that we have available to us at this point in time. He doesn't leave to go to Utah. He doesn't leave to go to Toronto. He's not making a return to Boston. He's going to retire a Florida Panther. That's what he's going to do. He's going to retire in South Florida. What a great way to go out. I admire him for this. I applaud him for this. He's never going to leave Fort Lauderdale now. You watch. He's going to spend the rest of his days there. But he's back in Florida, and they are going to continue to contend with Brad Marchand, part of that team. And were you surprised by the deal?
I was, if only because of the 6 years, right? Like, he was going to get $32 million, whatever the total was, just under $32 million. He was going to get that. If he hits the open market, Utah is desperate enough to give him 4 years. Toronto, thirsty enough to give him 4 years. Like, that would have happened. He would have hit $32 million. So the Florida Panthers say, well, we'll get $32 million, but we'll get it in the weirdest way possible. 6 years. So now he's going to play until he's 43. He could. Like, he definitely could do that. But him staying in Florida, best thing for him. I think it's the best thing for him. Like, so long as they have Sam Reinhart, Alexander Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, Sam Bennett, all of those guys are signed for the long haul. Marchand's going to be your fourth or fifth best forward every night. That is the perfect spot for him at this point in his career. So, smart move by him to stay a potential winner, obviously, and to also get the most out of his twilight years here as an NHL player.
So, was the years situation a way to stretch it all out? And that's what it is. And that, that's what we all assume it is. If you were the Bruins and you wanted him back, which I don't believe, by the way. I think it's completely fraudulent, and I think they were just floating that to make people happy. Like, ooh, they want Marchand back. I don't think they really wanted him back. But if they did, should they have been in on a deal like this one?
God, no. I struggle to believe they should be in on a 3-year deal with him. We're going to double that. We're going to go 6. I'm going to be honest. I was ready to move on. Because so long as you had Brad Marchand here, and I know the Bruins want to compete and they want to be a playoff team, you had something that allowed you or forced you to cling to 2011. And that was their big thing. Well, we got to win one more cup for Brad. You got to do it for Brad. Just like you had to do it for Marchand. Just like you had to do it for Patrice and David and Chara. Like, I was ready to move on because I think the organization needed to move on. Now, their interest in Brad Marchand is not necessarily because it's Brad Marchand. It's because there's nobody else available in this free agent market, and it's like, you know what? That guy's still good for 60 points, so let's do it. But I was ready to move on, and I think the franchise should have moved on.
As am I. I was out completely on the idea of bringing him back. So me personally, I would not bring him back. I wouldn't even entertain the idea of bringing him back. It's over. But if they badly wanted him back, I look at that deal, and I look at it differently than you do. I look at it and say, yeah, it's 6 years, but he's never going to see the end of it. And it's really just about spreading out the money. And it's still really just paying him over a longer period of time, and it makes him fit better. To me, if you're a team that's kind of struggling to have space, create space, this would have fit the bill for the Bruins.
So what I will say to that is and I have to look into all like the parameters of the contract and whatnot, but when you sign a guy to a massive deal like that after 35, you tend to not have a lot of outs. Where, like, if he retires, the cap hit stays on your books.
Right, but it's over 6 years, and in 6 years, $5 million is not going to be a huge number.
Right.
It's dead money that you're carrying, but it's not going to, I don't know, it's not going to really hold you back.
I just think it's different for Florida than Boston.
Agreed.
That's where I'm like, if the Bruins signed him to that deal at noon today, we would be killing Don Sweeney.
I'd be killing him either way. Bring him back.
What are you doing?
I would have killed him either way. So I'm glad they didn't. I would have killed him. I would have said, this is stupid. Why can't you get out of your own way? Why can't you move on and rebuild? For them, it makes all the sense in the world. They are in a win-now window. They've got to maximize it. They want to continue to be the team that they've been over the next 2 or 3 years. And if the bill comes due later on, they're thinking to themselves, who cares? We won multiple cups, right? They're not done yet. They could win it again. And so for them...
Probably will, honestly.
Right. So let's say they win 3 in a row. And then 4 years from now, it's like, we've got to kind of clean up the books a little bit. We got some dead money hanging around. Who cares?
Yeah, that's like what we were saying, I think, when we were talking in 2023 when the Bruins went deep into LTIR to build out the potential best playoff roster they could. I think I said it to you guys. I think you said it to me. Like, it's like, who cares? Cap problems are for a couple years. Banners are forever. Like, that's kind of how it is. Like, so I agree with that. It's just, I don't think any other team besides Florida was positioned to offer that kind of contract. And you know what? Credit to Bill Zito, who is like, I think definitely the best GM in hockey. The way that he got all three of those guys to take less than they would have got on the open market. Bennett, Ekblad, and Marchand. And finding a creative way to do it. Because once they signed Bennett, I was like, oh, one of those guys is gone. Ekblad or Marchand's gone. Nope, they found a way. And that's what that speaks to what they've been able to do and why players like Marchand want to go there.
You see their cap sheet? They got about $17 left.
That's okay. They're winning.
They'll get Brent Burns with that $17 or whatever, and he'll have a great season. We'll go, how did that happen? It's like, Florida, baby. That's what happens there.
Florida, baby. Florida. He's never going to leave there, T-Bone. He's going to spend the rest of his days hanging out at the elbow room.
Jealous.
What kind of restaurant does he open up when he's 51 years old?
That's a good question. I don't know. What's he into? What's his favorite kind of food?
Didn't he just launch a coffee recently? Maybe like a little coffee shop?
Coffee shop. A little Cafe Marchand.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. I like that.
right on the
Las Olas Boulevard. That's what it's going to be. That's a Cafe Marchand. I'm going to go get a croissant.
Right next to the Publix.
Right next to the Publix. There are a lot of Publix there. There are quite a few of them.
Jim McBride took me to a Publix when we were down there. I never been. Like when I was down there for the playoffs.
It's like any other grocery store.
Yeah. Well, the chicken tender sub, I'm not going to lie, it was really good.
Oh, all right. Yeah. There's a lot of Publix going on down there. And soon to be a coffee shop. Brad's Brew. All right? That's what it's going to be.
Franchise that thing, yeah.
That's what it's going to be. He's going back, and he's got to be thrilled about that. Man, what a second. It's like a brand new career down there for him. Good for him. Does this make the Bruins trade look worse? They give him up mid-season to a team in their division that goes on to win their second straight cup, and now the guy is staying there and staying put, and they got to deal with him for years to come.
No, because I think you have to look at it when the trade was made. That's a hard rule that I have where like you have to look at when it was made. Yeah, it worked out for Florida, but he was injured. Contract talks are not going well, and he only wanted to go one place. So it's either that or you hold on to him and he leaves today at noon. Like, so from that standpoint, I don't mind it. Now, the full scope of it is going to have to be, determined by what they acquire. If they make the pick, if they trade the pick, I feel like they're going to trade it for some win-now help somewhere down the road. But, again, I don't hate the idea of if you have such an impasse contractually, which they did. They were not close at all. What other option do you have? Do you want to hold on to him and not make the playoffs and lose him? Like, I'm okay with that. And I think the problem that I've had with the analysis of it or, like, the looking back on it is the assumption that he would have been this player here in Boston. No, it's everything we've talked about, that he's playing in a lower, level, not level, but like lower role. He's not the captain. He's not first power play. He's not first PK. He is just, hey, go be Brad Marchand. You're really good at that. Go be Brad Marchand. And you saw it, and you're like, yeah, that's what he should be. That's what he should be. He was never going to be this guy for this current group of the Boston Bruins. Just wasn't going to be that guy.
It's the position that good teams should put him on. And I just think it highlights that the Bruins were a really bad team. That they were expecting what they expected out of Marchand instead of what a good team and the best team in the sport is now expecting out of him.
It's kind of like how with the Red Sox, everything comes back to the Mookie Betts trade. For the Bruins, everything comes back to 2015. And if you get one high-impact winger besides Jake DeBrusk and you keep one of those guys, Marchand is playing in a role that's more like the role that he had in Florida. That did not happen, as we all know, and has been beaten to death. And so this is a situation that the Bruins are in. And Marchand has to be Marchand on a different team now because they did not do enough to put a better core, a better future core around him and the rest of their veterans. And so I don't hate that move because I think the franchise was ready to move on. I would see the actual merits of moving on because you have to embrace the next wave at some point. You just got to. And guys like that, like at that point, it made sense in 2023. It didn't make sense in 2025 to still hang on to all those kind of guys.